morning guys, it's a Monday morning and today I thought I would share with you my top tips for surviving your first year at an international school. So if we haven't met before, my name is Katie and me and my husband live in a place called Tianjin, and I've spent the last 2 years working at an international school over here in China, and I have learned a lot. So I thought I'd kind of dive in to the types of things that I've learned here and how you can survive your first year. There's a few things that I wish I knew before, and on this channel I do like to share videos about China and my life over here, so if you are interested in that, make sure you hit subscribe. So before any of that, I do need to set up my classroom. You will find my classroom is currently looking like a jungle. I don't know if you've watched the last video, go back, I'll link it in the description below, but me and my colleagues transformed my classroom into a rainforest as part of our literacy hook, and it's still in that state, so I apologise for the rainforest. So my class today have a day of non-stop rehearsals. We are also planting seeds today. So that should be exciting. Our topic is roots, shoots and fruits, so they'll get a chance to plant some seeds and see how they grow over the last few weeks of term. So my first tip is to listen and learn. Now it's really difficult in teaching, especially if you've been teaching for some time, to not go into a new place really headstrong with a really clear understanding of how you want your classroom to look. However, you are going to be working in a different community, in a different school with different children, and it's not just about working in a different school, but you're also working in a different country. So these children won't be like the types of children that you teach in England. They'll be the types of children who have had a completely different upbringing, have a completely different background, have completely different expectations, have a completely different culture here. So I would always suggest to open your eyes, make sure that you are listening and learning as much as you can. I think I've mentioned this in a vlog before, but these are like Chinese burgers. They're made of like meat inside them, but they taste so good and it's nice and hot, so that's lovely. Right, so my students will be here soon, so I'm going to have my breakfast, finish off some report writing. It is report writing season, so I will be doing lots of that. So I need to do that this morning, and they will be coming in soon, and they're going to start the day with some accelerated reading, which is like an assessment for reading that we do here at our school. And then we have some literacy, so that should be fun. Hi guys, so it's now like 9:30 and I've just finished my first lesson. We had literacy and we've been looking at the law acts because we are looking at deforestation, so that was a really nice little lesson. My children have now gone to rehearsal, so I have a free period now, and then after that they have Mandarin, so I have another free period. So I'm going to get on with kind of organising my classroom a little bit more. I need to kind of just go through and do a bit of a clear out. We only have a few weeks left of term, so I need to start thinking about like the things that I brought with me here that I want to take to my next school, things that I want to just like organise ready for the next teacher. So I think I'm going to kind of have a day of that today. But yes, that's my day so far, and I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit more about some more tips for if you are moving to an international school. Okay, so my next tip is to remember your morals. Now that sounds a bit strange and it kind of just contradicts my first tip. However, it's really important when you move to a new school, or especially when you're moving to an international school, to remember what it is that you believe in teaching. So I'm all about being open to trying new things, but I'm not about changing who I am as a teacher. So for example, in my first parents' evening here, one of the parents said to me, I need to be stricter to their children. I need to send home homework every single day. They need to be doing 2 to 3 hours of homework every day, and I just need to be stricter and yell at their child more. That's not me. I don't believe in yelling at children. I don't really particularly believe in homework when they're in primary school, and that's just not me in the slightest. So I'm not going to change who I am for parents' expectations, and you might have that in international schools. Okay, so my next tip is immerse yourself in your new home. Now, moving to a different country can obviously be incredibly daunting, especially if it's on the other side of the world. I can tell you now that China is completely different in every way possible to the UK. But if you immerse yourself into the culture, get to know the local staff at your school, get to know the culture, get to know the food, get to know what there is to do here, but also kind of find what it is, you know, the things that you miss And it could just be little things, but things that you miss, find out where you can get those from as well, because it does mean that if you get really homesick, you can have like a little bit of home. Like for example, me and my husband, it's a really small thing, but we love fajitas, and there really aren't that many Mexican restaurants in China like we've found in the slightest. I think there's like one in Tianjin, so we know that there's one restaurant in Tianjin, but we also know where we can get wraps, and we also actually bring fajita mix with us from England, so that we know if we're feeling a bit homesick, if we want to have a little taste of home, we can make some fajitas, and it sounds really stupid, but just a little thing like that will really help. My next tip is to write down your highlights. Now that sounds strange, but what we like to do when we first moved here is, because everything was so overwhelming, I kept a diary, and that meant that I wrote down everything that I loved about living here. And I really would recommend doing this, because there are times when you are moving and living somewhere else that things are going to be really frustrating. And obviously in life there are moments of frustration, but it seems to like intensify when you are away from family, when you are away from what you know, and it can be really difficult. So I would highly recommend you make a list of some of the things that you love about living where you are, and then it means that when you do have those down days, like everyone has them, when you do have those down days when there is something that doesn't quite go right, you can go home and read those and remember what it is that why you moved here and what you love about your new home. Okay, so my next big tip is to stay in touch. Now, when I first moved abroad, I knew that I might get a little bit homesick. I had been to university and moved away from home, but I was like home every weekend, so I was a little bit worried that I would get homesick. However, I read loads of articles that told me to like not talk to a family for the first month or so of moving here, so that I could like readjust. And that was absolutely rubbish. Like, no, you need to stay in touch with your family, because they're your lifeline, you know, they're your kind of connection to back home. But also, if you don't talk to them, like I feel like you're just going to worry about them, like I know I do. So try and stay in touch. I know it can be difficult, and it's more like about friendships as well. So obviously you're going to contact your family naturally because they're your family, but it can be really difficult to maintain friendships when you're abroad. So I would highly recommend like try to find a time once a week to Skype, or just like have a text chat with your friends, go on to like WhatsApp, whatever it is. And I know it can be difficult because, you know, especially if you're living in a completely different time zone. We live in China and the time zone is completely different. I was just texting my mum just now, and I have to text her at this time because this is the only time really that I can talk to her, because she will have a busy day ahead of her. So in the morning is the best time, her morning, and my afternoon is the best time that works for us. So talk to your family and friends when you can, and take as much time that you need to do that. I know like in China it can be really difficult for us because a lot of social media is blocked here, and we have to use an ExpressVPN. We use ExpressVPN, we have to use a VPN to contact people, to be able to use social media and contact people. And I do think that can be really frustrating. And like I know I don't have my VPN on my phone all the time, so sometimes when I turn on my VPN I'll have loads of messages come through on WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is banned here. So it can be really difficult to keep in touch, but I would highly recommend doing it, because I think it's really important when you're missing home that you have those connections that you can go back to and talk to people about things that you're concerned about. But also, you know, it's just nice. It's a nice kind of comfort to have when you're living abroad.
Pig brain.
Pig brain.
Yeah, pig brain.
I mean, are you going to try this, Jessie?
No, Lucia like it, but I'm not. Okay?
Yeah.
The live one.
Okay.
For sure. Okay?
Jessie.
That's why we eat the live. The live is much better.
It's running away.
I know it's run away. That's why it's alive. Do you want one?
I do, but I don't want to look. I don't have to do that to it. Now, my next advice is to make friends. Now, that sounds really obvious because most people will naturally just make friends, especially if you're moving to another school or another country by yourself. So I would obviously advise you to make friends with the people that you work with, but I would also encourage you to try and make friends with people outside of your school. Now, I'm really fortunate because I moved over here with my husband. He is like my rock, but he's also my best friend. So when I don't want to talk about school, I have him to talk to, and it's fantastic. But I would also like recommend you try to make friends with people that are outside of your school, people who, and it can be difficult. Like we live in Tianjin, which has like no expats. The only expats here are people from our school and people from another school that's like 2 hours away. So it can be really difficult to make friends with people who speak English. but aren't from your school. And I know that can be challenging, but you have to look at where you're moving to, where the like clubs are, where community events are. Try and go to, you know, whether it's like weekly classes or whatever it is, try to make friends with people outside of your school bubble, because it's really easy to kind of get trapped in just spending time with the people that you work with, which I don't think is a healthy way to spend your life. So try and make friends with people outside of your school bubble so that you can have people that you can talk to and spend time with when you don't want to talk about school, when you want to forget about school for a bit and enjoy other things about living here. So that's my best advice, is make friends in school and out. So first off, these are the dumplings I've got. They're a little bit greasy, so our school's a bit kind of hit and miss. Like, I'm gonna be honest, the food isn't the best food, and like it's sometimes nice and it's sometimes not, so but the dumplings aren't too bad here, so I thought I'd try some of them. Now this kind of links to the last one, but it's really important that you spend time away from school and go to bars, clubs, restaurants, classes, events, you know, social outings, whatever it is. Go to as much of those as you can and enjoy your life in your new home, because it can be so easily, and I see it happen so many times at my own school, it can be so easy to absorb yourself in your school life, because you've moved to another country for your job, you've moved to this country for your school and to work in your school, and it's so easy to get caught up and just absorb yourself in everything to do with your school, and it's not healthy and it's not the best, like it's not going to get the best out of you. So try your best to go into work the times that you need to be in and leave when you need to be leaving. Like, don't stay at school to chat with people at work, or, you know, don't stay at school to do extra work. Just do what you need to be doing at school, do your best, but then leave the times that you should be leaving and get on with your life in your new home, because it is so important that you enjoy your lifestyle here, because otherwise you'll just want to go home. Like, there's so many people that leave after 2 years because they don't enjoy living in a place, because they haven't fully immersed just themselves. Do your research. Now, as travel bloggers, we did every bit of research that we could when we decided to move to Tianjin. We read books, we looked on the web, you know, websites and blogs, we went on YouTube. Like, as much as we could, we learned about Tianjin. We knew how we could buy food, we knew how to use the apps, we knew how to order a taxi, we knew that we needed a VPN here, which I'm so glad we looked into before, because actually it's surprisingly difficult to download a VPN app once you're in China. So there was so much that we learned before we moved here, and I'm so glad that we did, because it fully prepared us for moving here, and it meant that we had everything we needed to live here. I would really recommend doing as much research as you can before you even apply for jobs. Be doing this types of research of, is this place somewhere that I think I could live? Because at the end of the day, contracts often are 2 to 3 years, and you need to know that you can live there without going insane. So make sure, like, not every country, not every city is for everyone. So do your research, check it out, watch, you know, YouTube, look at blogs, do as much as you can, like read as much as you can about the place that you're going to be moving to, because it will really help you when you get into the school, when you get into your new country, and you're prepared. So I was just actually about to finish off this video, and then I got an email to say that one of our colleagues are leaving this year, and that is one thing I wanted to talk to you about, is making sure that you prepare yourself for change, because change is going to happen in international schools all the time. There's a lot of pressure on international schools that they have to be, you know, doing the current thing up with, you know, whatever's going on in education at the time. But also, not only is there pressure on the school, but you're going to have so much staff turnover. I mean, it depends where you are, it really does, but most places will have staff turnover to some extent each year. I know actually the school that I was working at in the UK, I think one person left and then one person started. So it wasn't really much of a staff turnover. But when I started at this school, there was me and 13 other teachers, which is a lot. And this year, I think there's more teachers in the junior school leaving than there are staying. And I mean, it might be a comment about the way my school is run or whatever, but the main thing you have to realize is that people are always going to move on. People always will want to move on to a different school. People want to move on to a different position in a different school. People want to move on to a different country. So you will always have a lot of change, and you have to make sure that you're adaptable to that change, and making sure that you're ready to accept it and move on and go with whatever the change of the school is, but also accept that there are going to be people that you get really close to, that you're really friendly with, and then you're going to have to say goodbye to them in a year or two's time, because you might leave or they might leave, and it's just part of life. So making sure that you prepare yourself for change, because there will be change. There will definitely be change in whatever school that you work in. So those are my top tips for working at an international school and surviving your first year. If you have any tips yourself, please leave them in the comments below. If you have any questions as well, leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at katie@creativetravelguide.com if you have any questions about life abroad. But yeah, I hope that's helped. I know that moving abroad can be really daunting. I know that when I moved here and started my first year here, like, it was scary, obviously. Like, it was a really difficult, challenging but exciting first year, and I hope those tips have kind of helped you when you are thinking about moving and when you move to do your first year abroad. So best of luck. I hope you have an amazing year. Thank you so much for watching this video. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you find this helpful. If you did, please make sure you give me a thumbs up. It really helps this channel, and hit subscribe if you want to see some more travel and life in China videos. And until next time, bye.